twins Veronica and James Quik were born on November 29, 1997. As they grew up, they were inseparable. Veronica being fun and outgoing, and James being quiet and shy, they evened each other out. As they grew up, Veronica began to unknowingly have premonitions. She would be playing up in her room, and minutes before her father would even get home, she would yell, "Daddy's home!" Her family thought nothing of it, thinking she was just eager to see her father. James always tended to show a very aggressive side when it came to people messing with his sister, but again, the twins' parents thought nothing of it other than he was a protective brother. As the twins entered high school, their differences were even more prominent. With her long brunette hair always tied back in a ponytail with a red bow, Veronica was the most beautiful girl in the school. James was now the starting offensive lineman for their high school varsity football team, which was the worst team in the state of Rhode Island. He was pretty lean for a lineman, but boy did he have the strength to move any person in his way. James was still quite shy, but he started to show even more of a temper as time went on. In their junior year of high school, he got angry enough he would black out and not remember a thing for hours. Although James was starting on the football team, he was not as popular and outgoing as Veronica, which really drove a wedge between them. On top of that, Veronica was dating Aiden Bennett, the quarterback of the football team. This created even more friction between the twins because Aiden was known for not being a good guy, and James had seen it firsthand. Junior year, Veronica's premonitions started to become more vivid and easily understood. She started to actually have visions of things that were going to happen. First, they started as just visions of what people would say next in a sentence, but then they started to evolve more. She started being able to see the scores of upcoming football games and even Powerball numbers. When Aiden found this out, he started using her visions to his advantage, and not in a good way. He started making her tell him the opposing team's players that would score the most points in the upcoming game, so he could take out each and every one of them before the games. James warned her and pleaded with her not to use her powers like she was, but she was too in love with Aiden to listen to him. Once they were out of high school, Aiden continued to use Veronica's powers to cheat his way into wealth and power. Using her powers and taking advantage of the love she had for him, Aiden quickly became one of the most well-known NFL players in the nation, all while keeping her powers a very big secret to the outside world. Player after player, he took down anyone who posed a threat to him. As time went on, Veronica started to refuse to tell her power-hungry boyfriend her visions because she felt guilty for what he had been doing. He started to beat the visions out of her, bruising her all over her body but staying away from her face so the public and paparazzi wouldn't see. She began to only wear long sleeves and sweatshirts in public, and James began to catch on. One day, as Veronica was putting on a sweatshirt, James walked in their house and saw all the bruises all over her body. He broke out into an immediate, almost entranced rage, and Veronica, being scared by his anger, blurted out what Aiden had done to her. In a split second, James was out the door, somehow running at the speed of light to find Aiden. He ripped him out of his football practice and dragged him up to the roof of the highest building he could find. Hanging Aiden over the edge of the building, James explained to him that he was going to pay for what he had done to his sister. Just as he was about to let go, Veronica showed up in a flash, begging James to stop. Her pleading snapped him out of his seemingly entranced anger, and he put Aiden down. They brought him to the police and explained everything from the visions to the cheating, and they let Veronica go due to the fact that he was beating them out of her. A day after getting sentenced to life in jail, Aiden's mansion was found burned to a crisp with no sight of him in it. Although sad, Veronica was relieved that she would not have to worry about him hurting her again. As time passed, things went back to normal. The twins' powers were still kept a secret, and the only people that knew were their parents. Veronica started working as a meteorologist for Channel 10 News in Providence, Rhode Island, and James started his own self-defense school in Providence as well. While Veronica was at work one day, she overheard a news story about an unidentified man who was severely hurting many different people that happened to be from the Quik's high school. As she started looking more into it, she began to recognize the kind of beatings that these people were getting, flashing back to Aiden's fist repeatedly coming down on her. Astonished that she had not seen him coming in her visions, she reached for the phone to call her brother but remembered an earlier vision that her phone lines would stop working. In a flash, she ran around the house to find a flashlight because she knew what would come next. Boom, the power went out. She knew how he worked. Her front door unlocked, and a tall, muscular figure with a red mask walked in the room. As he walked in, he pulled off his mask, revealing his burnt face. In a low but coarse voice, he said to her, "You, Veronica Quik, are the one who did this to me." He breathed deeply. "And now you will get what you deserve." Aiden raised his gigantic fist, but when he went to hit her, James's small but strong hand stopped him from getting near her. James stood up, still holding Aiden's fist and slowly crushing it with his frail hand. As his eyes turned fiery red, he yelled, "No one messes with my sister." He picked him up and in a second ran to the police station and locked him in a cell. He was later resentenced to life in jail and this time did not escape his fate. The next night, the Quik twins went to dinner to discuss the events that had taken place and what they should do about them. As they walked into the restaurant, the waitress told them to come with her. She walked them over to a table set for 3 with a strange man dressed in all black with an eye patch over his left eye. He looked up from his menu and said, "Quiks! You've just become a part of a much bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. Welcome to the Avengers." Hi, my name is Taylor Darcy, and I created the Quik Twins. The reason I made them twins was because I wanted to make my story different from others that have been created before. One thing I'll start off saying is that when I first started this, I originally wanted to make Veronica the one that had the most strength and power, but as I started creating them, I changed my mind. Although I love the idea of a physically strong woman character, I also like the idea of a brother and sister team that worked off of each other. Veronica had the brains and the premonitions to see what was coming, and James had the strength and power to stop it. So going off of that, I made them Marvel characters because they lived a good chunk of their lives not knowing that they had powers and still having human flaws. Both of them were not perfect and they had their downfalls. For Veronica, she, in the beginning, was weak for love, something that I'm sure we can all relate to. She allowed Aiden to hurt her and take advantage of her because she was too blinded by the love that she had for him to see his evil side. On the other hand, James's downfall, which also links to his power, was that he didn't really have control over his anger. He would get carried away and not realize it, like he did on the rooftop with Aiden when he was about to drop him off. These are little things that make both of these characters up, but something that a lot of us can relate to. I think that aspect is very important when it comes to superheroes. Sure, it's nice to think of a superhero as perfect, flawless, and confident, but something I learned in this class, and also something that is important to me, is that you should be able to relate to superheroes on a human level. This is something that I think Marvel does a great job at by showing their flaws and sometimes lack of confidence, which is yet another reason why I chose to make them Marvel characters. I hope you enjoyed my video, and thank you for watching.